A very warm welcome to World 360. You're watching our special presentation, Modi in France. I'm Akanksha Swaroop. Now, in a two-day power-packed visit to Paris, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the guest of honor at France's Bastille Day parade on Friday. The French President, Emmanuel Macron, expressed his pride in welcoming the Indian Prime Minister as the guest of honor. He further emphasized that India and France would play a decisive role in the future as strategic partners. Now, this parade included Indian soldiers marching down the iconic Champs-Élysées Avenue, and the Indian Air Force's Rafale jets were also featured during the flypast. It should be noted that Prime Minister Modi has become the first Indian Prime Minister to be conferred with the Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor. That's France's highest civilian and military honor. Also, the Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor was bestowed by France, is another notable addition to a series of prestigious international awards and honors that have already been received by Prime Minister Modi from various countries. Now, the Prime Minister has also had final few important engagements that included the ceremonial reception, a tete-a-tete, delegation-level talks and a joint statement. Now, a CEO forum to talk more business with a dinner at the Louvre Museum has also been hosted by the French President. Interestingly, Prime Minister Modi's visit has coincided with 25 years of India's strategic partnership with France. It is the oldest among India's almost 30 strategic partnerships around the entire world. Interestingly, New Delhi and Paris commenced their strategic partnership immediately after India's nuclear tests in the year 1998. This at a time when most Western capitals had turned their backs on New Delhi. What is the significance of India and France ties? We'll delve deeper into that, and how will Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit be providing that much needed impetus to the Indo-French relationship? Let's quickly try and delve a bit deeper into that, and for that, let me first introduce my first guest today. I'm joined in by Major General A.K. Sivach, who's also a defense expert. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in. I'm also joined in by Anne-Elizabeth Moutet, who's a senior journalist. I'm also joined in by Francois Gauthier, who's also a senior French journalist based in India and, of course, is joining us live from Paris. Many thanks to all three of you for joining in. Major General Sivach, if I could come to you first. There's a lot being pinned on the India-France strategic partnership, not to forget the fact that both the countries are celebrating 25 years of the strategic partnership. What is so unique about this partnership? Because we have evolved and we have come a long way. Comparisons have also been drawn with the United States. But what is the mainstay of the India-France defense partnership?
Yeah, Akanksha, there are 3-4 things which stand out as far as India-France relationships are concerned. No doubt, when India has conducted a nuclear test in 1998, we were isolated by majority of European country and US.
Right.
And that is the time when France is the one which stood with India and had a strategic partnership in 1998. And we are celebrating 25th year of that strategic partnership. The point which stands out as far as France is concerned, that France relation with India is not buyer and seller. There is a element of jointmanship and joint production. We have bought weapons also from other countries, but as far as France is concerned, there is always amount of transfer of technology, 100%, and joint production, like the one which we have now done, about 26 Rafale, which will be a maritime Rafale for INS Vikrant. These are the state of art. These are the most advanced 4.5 generation naval aircraft. This will boost Indian Navy tremendously because we will be able to dominate Indian Ocean and also to some extent to Indo-Pacific with our Indian Navy aircraft carrier, and especially by Vikrant.
Absolutely.
The point which is there is that what is so different between France and US, France has been always our good friend for last 50 years, and it has always stood with us, whereas the US is only become a friend in somewhere in the early part of 2001 and onward, in spite of change of government or Republican Democrat, they stood. But France is always stood separately, and France has been very close to India. France always was with India when India needed most, and especially in civil nuclear deal,
Right.
and also transfer of technology. Same way when we are making these 3 Scorpion type submarines. Again, it is joint production in India, and there will be a transfer of technology already done here.
And there
now
is a major boost.
About AMCA.
Right.
AMCA, no, just that's a very important. AMCA is Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft. That is where the edge comes. It is the 5th generation. There is a competition between France and US. The US F-18 Super Hornet. That is also 5th generation. And also the AMCA, which is basically being built between India and France, will be jointly produced with 100% transfer of technology. So therefore, France to that extent is a more reliable partner than any other country, including US. But otherwise, comparison to some extent may not be correct, because France's problem is a part of European Union. Our trade with France is not to that extent the way we will like to have it. Because with the US, we have got a trade almost $170
Major
billion.
General Sivac, there's a lot to talk
there.
about, and we will be delving deeper into what is that major hurdle when it comes to trade. As you rightly pointed out, yes, France happens to be an integral part of the EU, and we do not have that FTA agreement with the EU, which is also curtailing that trade partnership between India and France. Having said that, let me also bring in Anne-Elizabeth Moutet, who is also very patiently awaiting her turn. So is Francois. And India has been the guest of honor at this year's Bastille Day parade. About 240 Indian troops led this march down the Champs-Élysées along with French Rafales owned by India. What explains France's choice of India as the guest of honor this year?
First of all, the celebrations went well. The French admired the Indian troops very much, and I happened to have military contacts who also said that while they were rehearsing in Satory in the days coming up to the parade, they were very pleased and happy to work with them. So that was one thing, and it was colorful and beautiful. The other thing is that India has long been the French partner and ally, and we invite always someone at the Bastille Day parade, and President Trump came to the Bastille Day parade. Various sort of other important people came. A long time ago, Margaret Thatcher came, but that's very old. And inviting President Modi was important because France is an Indo-Pacific power and is very much relying on India as a strategic partner to sort of shape something that will be autonomous and will ally friendly powers such as South Korea, India, Japan. It's something, considering that there has been a bit of a sort of a cold between France and Australia after Australia reneged on a submarine deal with France. France felt that it needed to have powerful partners. We are all conscious that China has become a very big and aggressive sometimes power in the Pacific. And the idea that India would be a good nation to have on our side is also something that has played a role.
All right. Francois, if I could bring you in, let's also talk about the Indian diaspora that has also got everyone's attention. And it happens every time whenever Prime Minister Modi goes abroad. We saw it happen in the United States. We've seen it happen in Egypt as well. And now most recently being France. You are a French who settled in India. But I want to know from you, we all are aware of the fact that the Indian diaspora in France is not as huge as it is in the UK or in the United States. What can the two nations do to ensure that the Indian community and the French community as well thrive in each other's nations?
For that, India has to invest more in France. I think at the moment there are very few Indian companies of a big standard in France, apart from Infosys and Wipro. I think they're the two major companies.
Right.
So there are, it's not like in the US or UK or Canada, where India has invested a lot, and also there's a major exodus of Indians to the US, UK, and Canada. In France, mostly you will find the Tamil French. Now, when Pondicherry became independent, very late actually, in 56, 57, the French gave the Tamil people the option either to remain within the Indian Union or to take a French passport. I don't know how many, maybe 50, 60,000 took that option. And today the descendants are mostly in France. Now, I was surprised yesterday to see the amount of people listening to Mr. Modi's speech in France, because there are not that many expatriates in France. I don't think there are more than 20, 30,000 Indians in France at the moment. So I don't know where they got this big crowd. Good. It sounded good and it looked good. But there's neither a big French investment in India, except some few oil companies like Alcatel and Saint-Gobain. And there is neither an important investment of India in France.